Okay, before I start, how many students, okay, how many students after you eating this, you like the snacks, please raise your hand. Okay, and how do you think about the flavor, about the green tea flavor? Good, okay, I want to listen the real opinions, okay? How about the other one, the tomato? Tomato, okay? How about the color? It's not a from food additive because in the future I will teach you some food additives. They are artificial. They are made from petroleum. I don't want to scare you, but they are made from petroleum. Okay, but this time I use a natural material. Tomato powder is red. The other one, green tea powder, is green. They are real natural materials. Okay, just one more survey. How do you think about the sweetness? First one too sweet, the second one just appropriate, the third one not sweet enough. How do you think about the sweetness? The first one is too sweet. How about the second choice is appropriate? Okay. Or the third one, you hope it can be sweeter. Okay, but many people you didn't respond. Can you tell me the sweetness and the flavor of this one? Sorry, I'm eating now. It means I enjoy the food here. How about let me know your opinions about the snacks. Yummy? Okay, how about other different opinions? Pardon me? I don't know the term. Okay.
It was made by
petroleum? No. I mean some color additives. They are made of artificial coloring. They are made from petroleum. But sorry, I use the green powder. They are not a food additive. They are natural material. And tomato powder, they are from tomato, not from petroleum. Sorry, I didn't explain very well. So any comments to improve the recipe, please let me know. Okay, 1 minute, then we can move to the chapter 2.4. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. I saw the white particle here. Yeah, I apologize because in the past we didn't notice this, and maybe we can before we pour into the machine, we can filter it. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. I noticed that. Let me take a picture. Okay, and yep. And also, someone suggested me if we have chance to eat the snacks when they are very warm or very hot. I know that, but please, uh, if you were me, you need to prepare food for 50 students. Please remind this point. So I'm sorry that in the future, if we have a student less than 10 students, we can eating while we are making. It's okay, but not at this moment. Oh, okay. And now, next week we discussed something about the fates, but this time I want to switch to flowers. And you can check the section 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. Sorry, the echo is really annoying. Sorry. Okay, and 4 streams and types of white flower. Okay, modern milling procedures produce many different flour streams, approximately 25, but there are 4 or 5 very common. Okay, the top patent flour, second patent flour, and second clear flour, and oh, sorry, it's a warning message for me. I forgot to plug it. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. 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 And the second clear flour and feed streams, mainly 4 streams. Okay. And here, all-purpose flour, general purpose or home use flours are usually a blend of hard spring wheat, and they are lower in protein, gluten content than bread flour. Generally, bread flour in Taiwan, we call it high gluten flour, and all-purpose flour, we call it middle gluten flour, and cake flour, we call it low gluten flour. So in the future, if you have chance, you want to cook something, you want to buy the material in Taiwan, you can try to learn this one. Let me show you. Yeah, you can learn this one. This one, it means high gluten flour, and the other one, what's wrong? Okay. This one we call it middle gluten flour, and this one low. This one is low. Yeah. So you know the first time when I learned, okay, high gluten flour equal to bread flour in English, and the all-purpose flour equal to the middle gluten flour, and the cake flour equals to the low gluten flour. And how can I say that? I didn't know who translate this, but we need to do the translation now. Okay, the bread with highest content of gluten, and the all-purpose, the middle content of the flour, and the low gluten. Yeah, thank you. And the low gluten flour, like this one, we call it cake. Yep. Sorry, I shouldn't teach that now, but I know some of you are enthusiastic in cooking, in baking, and I think you can learn this. But let me tell you something very strange here. Okay, who know this? Who know this? I think there are some Japanese students in our classroom. He or she can explain this. This one. Okay, this one is called strong. This one is power or ability. This term is called flour or called powder. This one actually that is okay. This one we learned this from Japan. But in Taiwan, we call it 高筋面粉 high gluten flour. In English, it's commonly called bread flour because it's very appropriate for making bread. Okay, let's come back to our here. All purpose here, and there are top patent for flour that contain sufficient protein to make a good yeast bread, yet not too much for good quick bread, cake, and cookies. And note a word about gluten quality as opposite to gluten quantity. The fact that the particular flour contains high quantity of protein, about 13 to 15% here. Okay, does not necessarily mean that is high quality. It may contain too much ash or too much damaged starch to warrant this classification. High quality is more important in many bread applications than in high quantity. All-purpose flour, an example of a high quality flour with protein content about 12%. Again, the quantity and quality is different. High quantity doesn't mean it has high quality. Okay. All-purpose, 12%. Grain flour is a combination of whole wheat flour, slightly coarser, with added bran. Sure, I know it's nutritious, but it's not in a good flavor and taste. And it's very easy to get the bad oil flavor because it's very easy to get oxidized. And other continuing of the white kernel. Okay. You can buy this. If you want to buy this, I suggest you one turn. It's called this one. Like this one, it means whole grain flour. Okay. And here, bread flour is a meal from blends of hot spring and hot winter wheat. They average about 13% of protein and are slightly granular to the touch. And this type of flour is sold chiefly to the baker because it makes excellent bread. I believe it. By the way, there is a price. If you want to buy that, 20 kilograms of bread flour in Taiwan, it may cost from $500-600 to $800. 20 grams a bag of flour. Just keep in mind this price. Sure, but the expiration date generally within 3 months. So you need to consider the preservation here. How to preserve that, or to finish using the flour before it get expired. Okay, just a reminder here. Just in Taiwan here. But if you want to have a longer expiration product, you can go to the Walmart. So it's not Walmart. Go to the Costco. But the 3 kilograms, maybe maybe 150 Newton dollars. But the expiration date, it can at least maybe 1 year. I think maybe 1 year. So in the future, if you need a flour in a big amount, in large amount, you may buy the 20 kilograms in a bag. But you need to move it. It's heavy. It's very heavy. Okay. It makes excellent bread with bakery equipment, but has too much protein for home use. It is also called a strong flour. As I mentioned, in Japan they call the 强力粉. In Taiwan we call the high gluten flour, or hard flour, and is second patent flower. For example, the specification sheets on bread flour produced by Canadian Miller and might include the following information: ingredient, moisture, ash, and protein. Generally, 13% of the protein. Okay, and along with this information, there is microbiological data. Okay, and allergy declaration. Note the formula of parentheses besides protein is simply the laboratory's way of deriving the protein figure from the nitrogen content. Okay, besides the specification, the biological data and allergen declaration is also important. Okay, let's switch to the cake flour. Yeah, today we were using cake flour to prepare those egg cakes. Okay, what's the property? Cake flour is milled from soft winter wheat, and the protein content is about 7%. Yeah, today we use this one, 7%, and the granulation is so uniform and fine, and very fine, very small, very tiny, that the flour feels steady. Exception is a high protein cake flour formulated especially for fruited pound cake. Yeah, I have never did this, but in the future, if we have a chance, we can do this to prevent the fruit of sinking. Okay, and this one, clear flour. Clear flour is very special. Clear flour comes from the parts of wheat berry just under the outer covering, and compared to the first patent flour, that is like comparing cream to skim milk to skim it. It is dark in color and has very high gluten content. It's called clear flour. And it is used in rye and other bread that require extra strength. But it's not very common in Taiwan. If you want to buy this, you need to go to a very special professional store, food store, to buy this. And this one, gluten flour. Gluten flour is made from wheat flour by removing a large part of starch. Wow. Okay. And it contains no more than 10% moisture and no more than 14% starch. Okay. Try to move large amount of starch. Why? I don't know why. Because gluten flour, it emphasizes gluten. It means protein content is much higher than the other one. Pastry flour. Pastry flour is made from either hard or soft wheat, but more often from soft. It's fairly low in protein. Okay, fairly low in protein, and it's finely milled, but not so fine as cake flour. It's unsuitable for its bread, but ideal for cakes and pastries, cookies, and quick breads. As I know, in Taiwan, it's not so popular. If you want to buy this, you need to go to the professional food store. Otherwise, we often use cake flour for making big cake, birthday cake, or small cake like today's egg cakes. And self-rising flour. Self-rising flour has leavening and salt added to it to control the amount at the meal. But self-rising, because it has leveling agent inside, but generally we don't like this one. Okay, sorry, I'm not a professional bakery, so I should not say that. Okay. And wheat germ flour. Wheat germ flour consists entirely of the little germ and embryo is the structure of the whole grain. The embryo part of the wheat separated from the rest of the kernel and flattened into flakes. And this flour should be refrigerated because it's very rich. The germ is very rich in certain kind of oil, and the oil is easily get oxidized. And here, whole wheat flour, or in Taiwan we call whole grain flour. Whole wheat flour contains all the natural parts of the wheat kernel up to 95% of the total weight of the wheat. It contains more protein than all-purpose flour and produces heavier products because of the brain particles. Okay, and okay, if you're interested to buy the whole wheat or whole grain flour in Taiwan, the Lianhua is the top one brand in Taiwan. Top one brand in whole grain flour in Taiwan. Let me show you. And here is whole grain. Okay, let me check any English edition available. No. Okay. Yeah, in the future, if you're interested in whole wheat flour, you can buy this brand. But the price is a little bit higher, and the package is 10 kilograms in one bag. 10 kilograms in one bag. Okay, again, the blue jacket. Okay, the whole wheat flour. Okay, and Lianhua is one of the top famous flour maker in Taiwan, manufacturer in Taiwan, but their price is a little bit higher. If interesting, okay, let me show you here. A minute, please. Last week, I visited a food store. Okay, and see, the brand name is called the Champion. So you can see the metal here. The Champion. Here is we call it cake flour, low gluten flour, and I asked the price is about 540 New Taiwan dollars in a bag. It's 22 grams in a bag. But the preservation is only 3 months. Yeah, if you want to buy that, I can suggest you here. Okay, here from our campus to the I-Yuan is very famous in Taoyuan. if you want to buy I took a picture from this location, this store. Sorry. You need to drive for about 25 to 30 minutes to buy that. You can buy this, the champion, like this one. But how do you bring the 22 kilograms flour back to campus? I have no idea. Okay, if you want to buy that, you can go there. Okay. Okay, and here the whole wheat pastry flour. The whole wheat pastry flour is milled from the entire kernel of the soft wheat and is low in gluten and is suitable for pastry, cakes, and cookies. Harvest flour. Most of the germ goes away with the shorts and only a small fraction of the total quantity can be recovered in a fairly pure form. Okay, and meal, a special process developed in England to improve its keeping quality and flavor, cooks this fraction. Okay, and triticale flour, the world's first new grain. Triticale is a hybrid of wheat and rye, and it combines the best quality of both grains, and is now grown commercially in Manitoba. Manitoba is in a province in Canada, and Savonia, and no-time flour, and blending flour. Okay, we have a quick turn to introduce the flour here, and in the future, I hope I have a chance to produce more foods for you. Okay, very close to the end of the class. Any question? Yeah, during the break time, I discussed with our classmates, and please let me know if I have chance to prepare Filipino style or Vietnam style snacks. Please let me know. I have the budget, not too much, but I have the budget. And if you need special equipment, please let me know. I try to prepare it in a class time, and I want to learn the culture from your country. And meanwhile, I introduce Taiwanese style foods to you. Okay, any question? Yeah, if no more question, you can come to pick up the cakes here. Okay, see you next time. I'm here. I will stay here until the class finishes. Then I can leave.